Hello and happy October. I have been led to kind of get a little creepy. I mean, because if you can't use your gifts for fun things, then what's the point, right? It's October and my guides are like, let's discuss the dark arts. Um, we're going to be getting a little spooky. This usually isn't my forte, but I'm going to be sharing a personal story and kind of diving into the dark side. Okay, so if you're still here, I think I want to start with a personal story. Um, I personally I don't know that I truly believed in magic or its effects that it can have on people until I had magic done on me. And we use the term black magic simply because there's magic that can be used for good. That's light, like for healing, for beneficial reasons that benefits humanity, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's the black magic that's not necessarily respecting free will, um, that we can usually it's done on like people to get things or for nefarious reasons, right? So that's just kind of how we label it. It's like Glenda the Good Witch and then the Wicked Witch of the West. like you could kind of look at it like that. And so I never really knew the difference or thought about it too much until literally basically I was scammed. I had a group of like 9 people, and this is when I was starting to come into my gifts, and it was very confusing for me. I could feel them doing magic on me, and they would like take turns and in rounds. And I don't want to get into too many specifics about it, but I feel like this is like, do not trust anything online unless you are FaceTiming with a person, speaking to them directly or in person. I just do not suggest trusting anything online right now. This time we live in, there's so much scamming and there's so much. It's not good. And they use this black magic and this influence, and they'll do all the things. Like someone will be in charge of like combing your social media. And so they'll know what works on you and what doesn't because they'll have like a file on you. Like basically it's a group of people. Like this is their job to scam people. Okay. Firmly believe this. And I want to say that I was at a vulnerable time in my life, going through a transition, going through lots of personal things, lots of growth emotionally. And it was a very confusing time because I was starting to come into my gifts and try to understand them more. It was getting interfered with. But I think that's why it also worked really good on me, is because I was so sensitive to the magic, if you want to say that. These people uh, used black magic, and it I don't know how else to describe it except, have you ever seen or been to one of those shows where a hypnotist hypnotizes like a group of people, and he makes them like bark like a dog or do silly things, right? And then when they kind of come out of it, they're like, um it was like that. I couldn't really control what was happening to me. And I kind of knew what was going on, but I didn't really have the like wherewithal to be like, I'm not going to do this. Kind of scary. But this is when I started diving deeper into the dark arts to try and rid myself of this and escape from it, without too much damage. So that was my experience with it. And this is when I started looking for answers and going to different people outside of myself because I had no idea what was going on until it was a little too late. But then I started coming into my own gifts. And one of the things about, people say, oh, black magic. And yes, it's a real thing. It can really damage your life. But once you learn how to transmute it, you can actually use that power because it's energy, right? Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred or transmuted. So all that energy they put into doing this thing to me, I learned how to use and wield for my own growth, for my own power, for my own magic in a positive way, right? So that's the one good thing that can come out of it. But yeah, I want to say, the online stuff, they have ways, and I still don't know too much about it because I'm not a spell person. I mean, the closest I get to a spell is like for manifesting and maybe using the elements and things like that. And no, I don't manifest like people because that's just, again, free will. You can manifest abundance in all forms, love in all forms, things like that, peace on earth, etc. But as far as that stuff goes, yeah, I was completely clueless how it worked. But going back to the transmuting part, once you learn how to do that, it's kind of like, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. I mean, I could say pretty much daily I get black magic thrown at me, and I'm just like, oh, okay, thanks, because now I know how to transmute it. So it can benefit you because it's just like people giving you free energy, right? So the next part I wanted to talk about, well, I've had lots of spiritual experiences, and that was starting around then because basically it was like there were non-beneficial psychic cores. Some people call them roots. Some people call it hoodoo, voodoo, all kinds of. There's all different labels for black magic and specific kinds. I don't want to dive too far into the dark arts because it's not really my forte, like I said. But to be aware of it, to be aware it exists, to be aware of its power is always a good thing. And the only way that stuff can ever affect you negatively is if you let it. So all the more reason to heal your wounds. Heal. So when that stuff does come at you, it doesn't affect you. That's the beauty of it.